I just have to make sure we don't do that.
Yeah.
We're so deep with each other.
Yeah, I feel like that's hard. It's like I have to really actively try to make sure my voice is like hearable. And it feels kind of strange. I've been trying to do more freestyling lately, and I'm just noticing like I'll have thoughts coming through my mind, and then all of a sudden like freestyle will start happening, and then and then regular thoughts, and then like randomly I'll just like start freestyling in my mind, and like not even actively. It's just like it's almost like this thing in the background that's just like freestyling on its own.
Oh my god. That's so awesome. It feels really exciting.
Why does it feel exciting?
I got this like imagery of like your regular thoughts and then like shifting into a freestyle and like regular, and then you observing those thoughts like, what the heck just happened? And I'm like also imagining you would feel excited about that, like that's something you're okay with happening, and like you want to get better at freestyling. I want you to get better at freestyling, so we can do some sick collabs.
Mm-hmm. I'm noticing what feels like to me like this sense of you being more feminine than I normally perceive you, or just like slightly more.
Right now?
I think since I got here. I don't want to like make some other part of you feel unattractive, but I like find it kind of attractive.
Mhm. Yeah, I do feel a little girly right now. I think I find it attractive too when I'm more in my feminine. I also had this question earlier. I was like, oh, I wonder if Hyatt finds it more or less attractive when I'm in my feminine.
Yeah, I had this thought like, I wonder if this femininity is like coming from maybe some small place, like maybe I want to shift this way for Hyatt for a moment and see what that's like or something. I don't know if that's true. It was a thought that came in.
It doesn't feel like it's for you, but it comes out more when like you're around or I'm around more masculine people, masculine bodied people. It's like something I'm like letting myself do instead of being like reserved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm noticing this want to, well, kind of this torn thing in me. Part of me wants to like have continuous speaking, so that way, like if I were to post this, people wouldn't get bored with us looking at each other, and then also just this want to just look at you and not care. Whether there's long pauses.
You have this feeling and also thought of like not trying to make anything happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, there is a little pressure from the camera, but I feel like I'm able to override that. But also like it's not my content. Although I consent to be like shared on your platform.
Yeah, I feel like it is your content. And like hearing all that, I felt my body relax a little bit.
I'm like, if you want continuous talking, I can do that. I could talk all day. It might. I wonder if it would devolve out of circling.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I want circling, but I'm also like, well, it doesn't really matter if we're not circling. But yeah, I want sort of the aliveness and of the moment of circling, and not just talking for the sake of talking.
Yeah, more like a dropped in conscious conversation.
Mm-hmm. Like past YouTube comments like play in my head. Just like, this is too slow, or something like that. Which, now that I'm thinking about that, I also get like just as many comments that are appreciative of the way that I might communicate or like take my time. But my mind like instantly first went to the negative comments that I would get around this. Like, oh, no one's gonna watch this. And saying that, I'm like, oh, I don't want to care if anybody watches this or not. I just want to like create it and put it out there, and people can do whatever they want with it if they want.
Do you appreciate the time you put into the way you talk and present yourself?
I'm sure at times I do. I think I have some sort of confidence most of the time where there's not like a whole lot of thought or feeling of appreciation for it. It's just like, this is kind of what it is, and I'm just sort of in it. But then there's times when I question it too, whether people will respond well to it. And I notice it more around like making videos on YouTube where I have subscribers. And in the past, I think I've tried to like be some sort of teacher or something and give advice. and wanting to present myself in a certain way that's like palatable for people. So I think there's still some like remnants of that in me.
So what I'm hearing is like there's this level of value you want to give in terms of a video.
I think that didn't like fully resonate, because I think that what we're doing is really valuable. I can see that. It's more just like, it feels more like it's coming from this fear. Trying to like figure out what the fear is.
When you like talk about the fear, where is it felt in your body? Does it have a home?
I mean, the only thing that I'm really feeling much of right now is like some slight tightness in my right shoulder. It feels pretty subtle, but it's like the only place that's kind of up right now. So I imagine that's where it lives.
I'm interpreting that in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, let me know if this lands at all. It's like a fear of opening your heart and being like very authentic, and then having that rejected. Like the right shoulder is like the protection over the heart.
Yeah, that seems like more accurate. I still feel like I'm not sure if that's 100% it, but it feels like there is that in me.
How big of a percentage is it for you, like right now?
11%.
Yeah, I like want to say thanks for bringing yourself to our attention, to the fear.
What's happening for you right now?
Yeah, I'm having like a tightness, but it's in my left shoulder. And there's like this constriction, like kind of like in my heart and like up into my throat a little bit.
Does that feel connected to like something you're consciously aware of, or could be consciously aware of?
Feels like something that needs to be said from my heart. But I'm not quite sure what that is. Yeah, I don't want to try too hard to figure it out or assign a meaning to it.
Yeah, I had this feeling like I don't necessarily even feel like I want to pry or like try to explore necessarily that, and that it's just gonna like pop up whenever it's ready.
Yeah, it feels like it's building up to something.
Like, how long does it feel like it's been building up? Are you talking about just in like, I don't know, the last few minutes, hours, days?
I don't know, maybe days, yeah. I think it's unrelated to our conversation.
Does it feel related to relationship?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like how I relate to others and wanting to be understood and heard in that. And yeah, I don't feel understood in one of my relationships. And it kind of hurts. Like right in my heart.
What do you feel like they don't understand?
How my brain works and how it operates, or how I understand things. I don't want to make up a story about it. It's like I'm trying so hard for this person to see me and it's like still not happening, so like, oh, I need to like take the hint and let go of this idea I have of them being able to understand me if I like try hard enough. And I'm realizing I'm like projecting a parental archetype onto them. That's exactly how I feel my parents don't try to understand me. They just kind of given up. They have me in their really comfortable, safe idea and box of who I am. And they don't get curious about how any of that changes. That makes me kind of mad. Like, fuck you, dude. Gosh. Feels so personal.
Yeah. So, are you wanting them to notice the changes specifically?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't. I'm not getting an answer around that.
Yeah, I had this thought. I was like, well, fuck, I can't even notice all the changes that I'm making in every moment.
Yeah, it feels like this loop in my head that just keeps going around. Like, it's this relationship outside of me, and then that's related to my parents, and then that's related to my relationship to myself. Like, oh, how am I not understanding and paying attention to myself in a way that makes me feel seen? Fuck.
Yeah, what's that like to hear yourself say that?
And like, I'm annoyed. Oh. But it's also like, that's the ticket. That's the ticket right there. But then the reasoning loop goes on. It's like, well, why do I have to be so self-sufficient in noticing myself? Like, why can't people just try to fucking see me? Like, I'm a human. I deserve intimacy and curiosity and close relationships.
Why do you deserve that?
I don't know. I like attribute it to a very like human need that needs to be met to some degree.
Needs to be met for what?
Needs to be met to feel good, to feel loved. That feels like the very like temporal, egoic part of me. That's very like, oh, I'm physically here. And that's like 35% of my operating system. And the other half is just like, well, you came here to be human, to live in the unity of love that's within yourself. You don't really need the outside, but you kind of do. I'm still learning about this. feels like the self-analyzation of my innermost belief system, which feels kind of vulnerable on camera.
Mm-hmm. I'm noticing like a bubble space around my heart that's just buzzing. It doesn't really feel like a lot of emotion. It just feels like sensationally pleasant.
Okay. I'm like, oh, I know what needs to be said. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. What the fuck? Oh, fuck. Jeez.
Yeah.
I know what the fuck I'm doing here, but I just don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now.
Yeah, did you have like some idea before, like, okay, I know what I'm doing? Was that ever a thing?
Yeah, I have like a general idea of this identity I've like built for myself. And right now I'm like not like, oh god, I feel so dualistic. Like I'm not living up to it, but by not doing that, at the same time, I'm living up to it. Because it's part of the process to becoming the embodiment of the identity that I see myself as. I feel like I'm getting the message that like I have to go through this so slowly, and it's like driving me crazy because I'm like, oh, if I apply myself and put enough effort in, then I can have these things immediately. And then it's just like the willpower and the drive to do it is like my momentum isn't high enough to like get to that place.
Yeah, hearing that, there's like some sadness around that. Like sometimes I think the same thing. Like I just need to keep on taking action, and if I just apply myself, then I can get what I want super quickly, which maybe is true, but then I feel my wants always changing. And there's just like some sadness around like, oh, that's all sounds so exhausting. To like force myself to do this stuff because of something that I tangibly want, or something physical that I want, or some idea in my head around maybe spirituality that I want. It seems like maybe a lot of clinging and exhaustion for me. But then it's interesting because I also see that when I do put in the effort, like sometimes it does lead to these things that just make me feel so good and like happy with myself that I did it, and I just persisted and was determined. And so I think I find myself caught in between both of those.
Yeah. Yeah, the question I'm asking myself is like, is it now the time to be determined or restful?
Yeah. I feel like lately it's been coming to me that, yeah, there's so many just like seasons and cycles, that everything is just perfect, and like there's just the time to be determined and there's the time to be like restful or lazy or whatever, and there's like, yeah, like everything's just a cycle that's gonna end and begin again and end and begin, maybe in a different way, but like struggle and ease and just like being okay with this is the cycle that I'm in right now and it's gonna change, and then I'm gonna have what I want, and then I'm gonna lose what I want, and it's gonna continue. Like hearing myself say that, I was like, that didn't sound very helpful, but like somehow it brings me some sort of comfort. And like everything's just super, I don't know, fading. Like nothing even really matters that much, and these are just like the cycles, and you can just let go of whatever is happening.
Yeah, I was like, I let your words kind of wash over me. I didn't really hear them so much. But I got this image of like my like humanity versus divinity, like the aspects of myself. And I feel like I'm in this tug of war, and the divinity like almost has the humanity over the line. I just feel like I'm so close, almost there to like not identifying so heavily with my humanity.
Yeah, part of my mind is like, yeah, I want to not identify so heavily with my humanity too. And then hearing you say like humanity versus divinity, I was like, what the heck? That sounds terrible. And like, why can't they just like let go of the rope and go and play together?
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite analogy, but I just decided to say it because that was what was on top.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, that reason is because you have an idea about it as well. Now I'm getting like an image of like a family reunion where divinity is like humanity hasn't seen the divinity in a while. They're like hugging and getting closer and becoming good friends. It's like a mergence of the two. And it feels like the illusion is that they have to be totally separate all the time.
Like, made me ask, like, what the heck is the illusion? Like, where is this coming from?
The illusion is like the separation of things. That's what the illusion is to me. It's like the thing that tells me that, oh, these things are separate, and they're just not, actually.
Had like a shift in visuals just now.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. it feels like the illusion between us was just lifted.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're not separate. We're the same.
That's how I felt. And then I kind of just like I felt it, and then I dropped out of feeling it a little bit, and then I was just back in like the knowledge of it, like, oh yeah, that's the truth, and now I feel separate again. A little bit.
I'm like, when I feel into like oneness with you, I just have the image of like straddling you and making out.
Yeah, it feels like interesting to me. And now I'm realizing that I think when I go deeper with you, I don't know, I think in like the maybe like the deeper depths of connection that I felt with you, that doesn't come up, but definitely like when eye gazing with you, yeah, I think about mostly kissing you. But then if I don't know, if I feel like I'm starting to melt more into you, then all thoughts sort of just cease for a little bit. But in like this connection right now, sometimes I get flashes of like wanting to touch you. And now I can feel myself like getting slightly aroused and like feeling some sensation in my penis. Saying all that.
Yeah, I'm curious around the concept of like physical oneness, or like the search for oneness, and how that leads me to more like physical relationships instead of like my own personal relationship. To myself.
Yeah, I think I missed some of the words, but it sounded like you're curious about maybe why there's this search for like physicalness with another to try and be one or something. Or like why there's that there. I'm not sure if I got that right.
Yeah, it feels like that's my first impulse, is to like go to the physicality of it, like in search for like unity with God, like intimacy with God.
And you're saying that your like first sort of go-to for that intimacy with God is maybe like intimacy with another human or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, something about that actually felt really beautiful to me. Like, that seems like a real possibility. Like, I had this idea just now that maybe you and maybe also I do have like this program, this idea that the oneness or unity just comes from like us. And now I'm like I'm like putting pieces together or something in my head, like, yeah, it comes from us and it can be experienced with another. but also just like coming from us.
Yeah, I want it really solid and like filled in myself, this unity. And not try and like fill, it feels like this like void that's closing up slowly. And I keep trying to put people there. And like instead of like intimacy and relationship with the divine. As I want to be intimate from that place where I'm totally fulfilled in myself. And I really don't feel 100% fulfilled in that.
Yeah, right when you started talking about it, I got this sort of like slight cringe in my stomach and got some imagery of just like throwing up. And at first I was like, oh, do I not resonate with this somewhere in me? But then it felt more like, oh, no, it feels like this idea of just purging everything out of me. And like, I have so much clinging and craving in me. And yeah, I just want to like throw it all up until I can just like sit smiling with the divine and not like need anything outside of myself. But be able to have like anything outside of myself. From that space. I just like noticed the contact between our legs, our knees. For some reason, like I just hadn't noticed for a while, and just like came up like, oh, I feel our knees touching, and it feels kind of nice.
Yeah, I feel some like energy moving through my legs right now. Like I just had this shift in myself. Like something's releasing out.
Yeah, there's something that seems like it's visibly shifted from my perspective. Like some kind of glaze or wateriness that I'm seeing in your eyes, and like the sound of your breathing seemed to change to me, and like maybe like what sounded like some slight mucus or something that could be like happening.
Yeah, it feels like this emotional release, like stuff moving out from my heart, throat, and like out. I'm getting the phrase like holy union, and like it's what I use to describe like the ideal relationship that I want to be in. And it's like I'm having things like click into place for me around what we've been talking about. I'm like, oh, that like two people fulfilled in divine intimacy, like coming together to share physical intimacy, like that feels like a holy union to me. And that's what I'm fostering, like, in my relationships right now. And also I'm feeling the need to tell you that I really love you and care about you, and I don't, like, I respect you and love you so much that I don't want to use you to, like, fill this part of me. And the hard part is, like, being so honest with myself right now that that's not totally filled yet. And that feels like the part of me that, like, a part of me that wanted to be seen and needed to be seen and understood.
It just felt like a crack or something in my third eye.
Yeah, that feels like the part that's not being seen in, like, the other, in this, like, other relationship.
Yeah, when you said that, I got some imagery of just like holding you and like this want for you to be seen, and I think specifically by me, and it feels like there's some sort of I don't know, attachment or like attachment to the idea that that's selfish, and the thoughts of like, oh, you can't probably even really see this person fully, but there's still that desire for you to feel seen by me, I think.
Yeah, I feel really seen right now. Like, having said that to you and not really known a way to articulate that to people. And I feel like this safety net within our connection that you can understand. This part of me, and like why I'm set really firm boundaries.
Yeah, there's like this part of me that's really admiring that and admiring you, and like in awe of your, like, the what feels like the work you're doing to do what you're saying you want, and setting boundaries so that way you can like explore more of your connection with divinity. And then yeah, there's this other like super ego part of me that's like, oh dang it, like I want to explore like physical, activities with you, and like
oh, now we really can't have sex.
First it was iffy with that relationship, but now the relationship with God, I think, is just like, yeah. I noticed myself trying to make like a joke there, and then I was like over it, and it just felt like some stupidity or something. Try to make a joke out of that.
Damn, God fucking cock blocked me again. Ooh.
feel a lot of sensation, like tingly, bubbly warmth throughout most of my body.
Yeah, I'm like feeling like my cells are just like
Yeah,
like let something go, and it's like
yeah, like all my cells kind of just like opened up and are receiving more.
I feel a lot lighter. I feel like it's all like there's like something, there's like this light mist coming off of me. And now I feel really happy that it was caught on camera because that was like fucking cool. Shit, oh my god.
Feel the desire to like hold your hands and play with you.
Yeah, I'm open to that. Uh-huh.
Like, part of me is like, oh, it feels so hard to move though.
Does it still feel hard to move?
Not really, since I've moved. It's just like the initial getting my hands off of my lap.
Yeah, I feel a desire to be held and like have you play with my hair and like feel comforted.
Yeah, that sounded exciting.
I feel like I just had a really intense like emotional orgasm and now I want aftercare.
Yeah, I want to give you aftercare.
Okay.
Okay, you feel pretty complete?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, let's end the video here.
Okay.